People should not be afraid of their governments. Governments should be afraid of their people. Well, it is 11/22/23, the 60th anniversary of the assassination of John F. Kennedy, which is why tonight I am reviewing Oliver Stone's JFK. Before we really get started, a couple of disclaimers. These videos are completely unedited and unfiltered, so whatever comes out of my mouth hopefully doesn't get me canceled. But it is what it is, and I will say adult things, so if your kids are in the room, you might want to ask them to leave or put your headphones on. And I will give spoilers away for especially the movie that I am reviewing, which is an amazing film tonight, is JFK. I'm going to talk all about it. So if you want to avoid spoilers, I'll put a list underneath the video that has all the movies that I mention or quote in this video, all the movies, and I'll have a header that shows spoilers so you can avoid spoilers for movies you don't want spoilers for. Let's get right into it, because this is a movie that is over 3 hours long, and I have tons of notes because I love this movie, and I'm just going to have fun with this review. Challenged. It does qualify for a challenge in the book. Challenge number 8, set during an historic war. Which is Vietnam, for those who might or might not know. The title of the movie, JFK, year released 1991, aspect ratio 2.39:1, running time, like I said, it's 3 hours and 9 minutes, genre, drama, history, thriller. Interesting that they put thriller. I like that. I do like that. Rated R. Date challenge completed. The 60th anniversary of the assassination of John F. Kennedy, 11/22/23. My rating, absolutely 5 out of 5, 10 out of 10. I absolutely love this movie. I think it's fantastic. Starring way too many people, even if they gave me a ton of space. So I'm just going to go as quick as I can down the list, and I'm sure I'm going to miss a bunch of people. Kevin Costner, Gary Oldman, Jack Lemmon, Walter Matthau, J.O. Sanders. I like J.O. Sanders in this. I'm going to go to the big list because there are tons of people in this movie. And I'm just going to name out some of the ones that are on here. The Edward Asner is great. I have a lot of notes. So Vincent D'Onofrio, Sissy Spacek, Brian Doyle Murray, Wayne Knight, Michael Rooker, Laurie Metcalf. Just fantastic cast. Joe Pesci and this list is not in any great order. Tony Plana, I know he has a small part, but you know, Tommy Lee Jones, John Candy, Kevin Bacon. I mean, there are so many people in this movie, and this is the epitome of no small parts. Okay, and I have tons of notes for plenty of people, so we'll get moving. Directed by Oliver Stone, produced by Oliver Stone, written by Oliver Stone. This is an Oliver Stone film. I would also like to mention that produced by A. Kitman Ho. Also writing credits, Jim Garrison, because it's based on his book, his life. And the screenplay was also co-wrote not only Oliver Stone, but Zachary Sklar. Music by John Williams. This is not necessarily again, I've said before, this is not necessarily actually, you know what? This is something that I would listen to on its own, because I've watched this movie so many times and I know the music so well that I actually would listen to it. John Williams does a great job with the music in here. And I have plenty of notes for that. So let's just move on. His music. Awards received, and so deserving. Cinematography, best cinematography, and best editing. Oh my God, the cinematography and the editing blows me away in this film. Now, and I have plenty of notes to that effect. Lighting, the color, the camera movements, the back and forth, the slow, the fast, the beautiful stuff, the cinematography. Wow. So I thought to myself, well, best cinematography, best editing. I love this movie so much. Well, what else? What did it miss? because it was nominated for more. Okay, and then I look at the list and go, oh, okay, Silence of the Lambs. This was the year of Silence of the Lambs, and it's a real hard one to go, which one would I say was better? So there were 5 movies that year, not 10. Nowadays we nominate 10, but back in 92, for 91 films, we nominated 5 films for Best Picture. Silence of the Lambs, which won, and it's hard to say if JFK, it's hard. JFK was nominated. The Prince of Tides, which I have seen and do not think that it's on par with these two. Beauty and the Beast, which I really do enjoy. One of my favorites, Disney when it came out, but not the quality that Silence of the Lambs and JFK is. And Bugsy, which I think that I have seen and is I hate to say this, but totally forgettable for me. I just didn't. I didn't love it. So I have seen everything that was nominated for Best Picture, and it's really hard to tear myself between Silence of the Lambs and JFK. But directing, I would have put this over Silence of the Lambs for directing. In my opinion, I love Jonathan Demme. He did a fantastic job. What he did with Philadelphia was absolutely amazing. But JFK, Jesus, Oliver Stone, wow. That's my opinion. I would have said yes. And I have seen the other Best Directing nominees, which are Boys in the Hood, Bugsy, and Thelma Louise. Love Thelma Louise, but Ridley, you've done better. And so JFK, in my opinion, should have clearly won directing for that year. Anyway, I'm not going to go down the whole list. Just wanted to mention those two, that it was nominated for more than what it won. Which is the case with a lot of films. Why did you choose this particular film? Because today is the 60th anniversary of the assassination. Have you seen this movie? Yes, I've seen this countless times. Even though it's 3 hours, it's one of those movies I absolutely love to watch. I literally have watched this movie later on in the day. Just was so riveted and it stayed on my mind so much that I literally watched it again later on in the day. So yes, I've seen this plenty of times. I was too young to watch this in the theater, though. I don't think that it would gain anything to see it in the theater, in my opinion. I can easily watch it at home and love it, and it's fantastic. I don't think it would gain anything to be on a big screen, in my opinion. Would you recommend this film? Why or why not? Yes. Even though it is a work of fiction, technically it is a work of fiction, it is a film, I believe that this is the closest that we will ever get to knowing the truth of what happened that day, why JFK was assassinated, and who did it. Because Lee Harvey, I mean, that's just ridiculous. Anybody who believes that Lee Harvey Oswald did it alone is absolutely gullible. You're just gullible. You don't get it. You don't. I mean, just look at the. Anyway, I have plenty of notes. Look at the facts. It's impossible. Which character were you able to identify with or connect with in which way? I wasn't sure. And I just put Jim Garrison simply because of a lot of people tell me I have a high level of integrity. And Jim Garrison must have had a high level of integrity to be able to see this through, with how much it destroys his reputation and almost destroys his family. The fact that he followed through, he must have had a high level of integrity. I used to love courtroom dramas, courtroom films. When I was in school, one of my teachers told me that I would. She didn't know I wanted to be an actor, and she told me, "Oh, you'd make a great lawyer," because we did a mock trial in class. And I was like, "No, it's because I'm an actor, and of course I can play that part." Best line or memorable quote. Most people will remember "back and to the left." Back and to the left. Back and to the left. Yes, Most people absolutely remember that. I have plenty of quotes that we will get to in my notes. In what ways do you feel the film did or did not portray the time period accurately? Again, I feel this is the closest that we will ever get to the truth. Even when the documents are released to the public, it'll be so destroyed and redacted that I think this story, based on Jim Garrison's book and another book, this story is the closest we will get to actually knowing the truth, in my opinion. And that's why I love it so much. For some weird reason, I am drawn to that story of JFK, and almost anything JFK related, I have a huge draw to. One of my favorite Stephen King's books is 11/22/63. I think that the TV show series is just a travesty. I don't even want to watch it again. I think the book was amazing, and I can't wait to read it again. Okay, what else did I put here? Oh, the sign of the times. It's very tumultuous. This film is very tumultuous, and the times were very tumultuous. People on so many different sides. How like today? It's very sad to see that we have not progressed. There is still a I'm on this side, you're on that side mentality. There's still if you don't agree with me, then you're against me. And unfortunately, the 60s and 70s were like that too. And it's sad. It's political views tear families apart, tear people apart, and it's sad to see that. And I put this note, like, there is constant smoking throughout this entire movie. Everybody is smoking in everywhere, in the restaurants, in the bar, and he goes to the office to talk to one of the people at the White House, and the secretary is smoking, and it's just everybody is smoking. I was like, holy crap. So that is absolutely a sign of the times. Like, everybody. I'm surprised the kids aren't smoking. No joke. Anything else you'd like to add? I have tons of notes, and we're going to get to that. I'm trying to get to that. The little note at the bottom here says, George C. Scott refused his Academy Award for Patton, 1970. He was the first person to ever do so. Okay, interesting. I didn't know that. That's interesting. So, I have tons of notes. Let's get into it. I don't give a fuck how long this video is. I'm just going to talk about this movie because I love this movie, and I think a lot of my notes are quotes, so they will go pretty quick. But however long this video is however long this video is, because we're talking about a 3-hour movie, okay? I did take today off to do this review. I was in Dallas for the 50th anniversary 10 years ago. I was living there, which was coincidental, interesting. I, like God, do not play with dice and do not believe in coincidence. I was there for a reason, and the fact that I was there for the 50th anniversary it does not escape my my brain. And the fact that, I'm doing this review on the 60th anniversary 10 years later. I love that they got Martin Sheen to do the opening narration. And I recognize his voice. There's a lot of people I recognize their voice. There's some people I don't recognize their voice. Martin Sheen, I haven't seen a ton of things that he's done, but I recognize his voice right away. He has a very distinct voice. And, excuse me, and this is the first time I have seen JFK after watching Apocalypse Now. I had only just watched Apocalypse Now maybe a month and a half ago. So this is the first time I'm watching the movie after seeing Apocalypse Now. And now I appreciate even more that they got Martin Sheen to do the whole opening monologue. Fantastic. I love it. What a great choice. I'm wondering if that's why they chose him to do that. Sorry, airplane going overhead. I wonder if that's why they chose to do that, but it's brilliant. The editing is fantastic. I love, in the whole opening montage during the voiceover, I love the inclusion. Actually, it's the entire movie. The entire movie is done this way, and it's brilliant. How they add real live footage because you get real life footage from all kinds of different places, the quality of the real life footage is going to look different. So what did Oliver Stone do? He made the entire movie that way. And I love it. It's gorgeous. The entire movie is helter skelter. You never know when it's going to be in black and white. You never know when it's going to be in color or high color or saturated color, or when he's going to fuck up the screen and make it look like it's an old 8mm film when it's not. He's actually filming the stuff now and then making it look like that, which is brilliant. Again, part of the cinematography and why it won best cinematography. And then the times when he speeds up the camera or slows it down, speeds up the film or slows it down or moves real quick and so it's blurry. It's just gorgeous. It's gorgeous. He does a great job. And I will say this over and over and over, the editing and the cinematography working so well together is brilliant. And that whole opening sequence where you see the real live footage of JFK showing up and the parade route and everything, but then they intercut, stuff with the actors. They intercut it, but kind of try to make it look like it's all part of the same thing. Beautiful. I said that. Oh, one of my first line, the first line in this movie that is my favorite line, like one of my favorite lines. There are tons of lines that are my favorite line. So beware. I will say this I'm sure throughout the entire one of my favorite lines is, "God, I'm ashamed to be an American today." And I don't have specific notes about Kevin Costner. Do I think he's fantastic in this movie? I think he did a great job. I think other people outshine him, and that's okay, because he is like Hamlet. He has 80% of the lines in this movie, and so he is a driving force. Without a good actor, Kevin Costner, to drive this movie, we wouldn't watch it. It would be, wait, we can't watch this. This is horrible. No, and it's the same note I would have for the Rain Man or Rain Man. Most people single out Dustin Hoffman. Yes, he did a fantastic job, but if it had not been for Tom Cruise and his wonderful performance in Rain Man, we would not have stuck with it. We could not have watched an entire movie with Dustin Hoffman as the lead. It just wouldn't happen. So yes, you need a strong person to carry the movie through. I think Kevin Costner does, and he allows everyone else to step it up multiple notches, and I'm fine with that. There are other movies where he outshines other people. This is not that. Edward Asner, speaking of, a character who he has a pretty decent role in this film, but he stands out. He does such a fantastic job as Guy Bannister. Wonderful performance. And Gary Oldman, God, this is the first time that Gary Oldman became in my awareness. His name became in my awareness. And ever since then, I have been paying attention to Gary Oldman and just wondering why we haven't given him Oscar after Oscar for so many things. And I was over the moon when he finally won for Darkest Hour. Is that it? Darkest Hour? Like, brilliant. He is such a disappearing actor, an actor I always thought I wanted to be like. Always felt like that's what I want to be. Like, every time you see him, you're like, wait, that's Gary Oldman? Wait, Dracula? That's the same guy that played Lee Harvey Oswald? Wait a second. Wait, Commissioner Gordon? Wait, that's the same guy that did Dracula in the 90s? And Lee Harvey Oswald? Wait, what? He's such a wonderful, amazing actor, and so underrated, unfortunately, not given nearly enough awards. Okay, moving on. I remember asking my parents, there's so much, back and forth in this movie, and like, we only show you little bits of everything. We go through the entire storyline multiple times because we're revealing certain pieces at certain times. So in the beginning, we're actually in the time period. The whole beginning, I would say first 20 minutes, maybe 30 minutes, is we are actually in 1963. The assassination just happened. Everybody's reacting to it. That's when you see Edward Asner and Jack Lemmon, their confrontation. But we also see Jim Garrison, watching the news, and everything's happening now. And as he's starting to investigate, David Ferry. Let's get David Ferry in here because they say that he's connected somehow. Okay, well, he's also watching the news and reacting to everything that's going on. And so when they bring Lee Harvey Oswald out after he's been arrested and booked and everything, and they bring him out, I asked my parents where they were when JFK was assassinated. And my father's no longer with us, my mother is. And I remember them both saying that they were in school, and they both remember being sent home when the assassination happened. I remember, the only reason why I remember my dad and not necessarily the story about where my mom was is because I lived in one of the houses that my grandparents built where my dad was born and grew up. So I remember him telling me I was at Grandma's house on the floor in the front room, because I grew up there. I knew the room, watching TV. And he says, I watched live on TV. I watched Jack Ruby shoot Lee Harvey Oswald. Just like Garrison in the film. See, like live on TV, and their reaction is wonderful. This is just crazy. Rooker said, "This is just crazy," And I can't. Oh my God, I can't believe they shot him on television. It's just whoa. And I remember my dad telling me that he remembers seeing that, watching it live. Of course, because then, back then, we didn't have reruns. We didn't have constant cable. We had, 4 or 5 channels on TV. And so you were watching it live, of course. Of course. Why did I do that? Oh, I love the edit, the beautiful editing. Oh, God, I can't say enough. Of course, it won an Academy Award for it. But when we see them watching the news, watching it happen on the news, on the TV, and then sometimes it cuts to full screen, we're watching it live, but still gritty and black and white, but then we go back to the TV, and the back and forth is brilliant. The editing, oh my God, it's just brilliant. It's just brilliant. It makes me feel a part of it, but also feel a part of them at the same time. We want to have both of those feelings going on, and it's brilliant. It's brilliant. Oh my God. Joe Pesci. Wow. There are multiple performances, and I will say multiple performances in this movie that are just, oh my God, believable, and Joe Pesci is one of them. He is absolutely brilliant in this. Do I think it's his best performance? No. In my opinion, in my humble opinion, Joe Pesci's outstanding best performance ever is in the movie With Honors. I love him in GoodFellas. I love him in this movie. I love him in so many movies, Casino, but With Honors blows my mind. He's fantastic in that. Okay, this is about the movie JFK, not Joe Pesci. Of course you're going to find little mistakes everywhere, especially how many times I've seen this movie. Oh my God. So when they have David Ferry in, and they're interrogating him, and they show the clips of him watching the TV as well, because the TV is on in the room while they're doing it. While they're doing the interrogation or whatever, they're watching the funeral. That's what they're watching. And there is a clip, I noticed it tonight, this is the first time I noticed it, there's a clip where we're watching the TV showing the funeral procession, and what you see on the TV changes from one thing to another, and in the edit cut, it changed daytime, and you can see it. the coffee cup next to the TV is first in shadow and makes it look like a dark gray type of cup or whatever, and then when they change what you see on the TV to something else, it also changes the cup, and now there's light on the cup and it looks white, like brilliant white. So of course you're going to find little things like that, especially with as many times as I've seen this movie. Yes, you're going to find little things. Yes. David, I find your story simply not believable. Really? What part? Really? You are lying out your teeth, and we know it. First, you're saying that you just went ice skating. Then you said you went goose hunting. I believe the boys caught a couple, but the boys said you didn't have any guns. Oh, yeah, we got out there and we realized, there are a wise bunch of birds. Wait, what was it first? We went goose hunting. Oh, did you get any geese? No. They're a wise bunch of birds. We couldn't approach them. But the guys said you didn't have any guns. Oh, yeah. We got out there. That's it. We got out there, and then we realized we didn't have our guns. So, of course, we didn't get any. Like, what? You're changing your story like 10 times while I'm talking to you in the last 5 minutes. And you think that that's a believable story? I love what he's like. I simply find I find your story simply not believable. And he said, what part? What part? Oh, my God. Walter Matthau. No small parts. Count how many times I say that in this film, in this video, because literally no small parts. Walter Matthau is amazing in this film. And he's on screen for maybe 3 minutes, 5 minutes. That is such a great part. This is where Jim Garrison goes, and this is, 3 years later, I think they say, or 6 years later. This is where Garrison finally is like, I'm not letting this go. It's because of Walter Matthau's character, the senator. That conversation with him sparks the fire and gets Garrison going. He tells him, Oswald was a bad shot. There's no way they could have done the shooting. It's not possible. Sharpshooters tried. Nobody can do it. One pristine bullet, that dog don't hunt. He has such a great character, wonderful lines, and this is the start of he says what he said, that always bothered me. They always wanted, this is now we get going. I love that the family scenes are very, very important to showing how this is affecting him personally, not just professionally, but personally. And I used to watch this movie and not really think much of Sissy Spacek. Okay, Sissy Spacek was great in other things, and I'd never a huge fan of Sissy Spacek. But watching this film, I always thought she was very passable. Who cares? Whatever. She's just kind of fluff in the background. But the last few years, I really pay attention to her and realize how wonderful a performance she actually gives. She has a specific character to play, and whether you agree with her character or not, or the decisions of her character, doesn't matter. She does a really good job of that I have to support my husband, but my husband is leaving the or so distant from the family. How do I support my husband, but also get him to realize that your kids are you're missing the lives of your children. It's such she does a really good job, and I don't want to think that she is passable anymore, because she's not. She's a very important character, and those scenes are very important. Oh, when he's reading the Warren Commission. I love that when he's reading the Warren Commission, they insert it. It's not just voiceover or whatever. There are several ways you could do it, and I love when he's reading it. We actually get transported to the interviews of the Warren Commission, but then also get transported to the day of what they are talking about. Beautiful edits, like constant edit. I mean, this editor must have spent fucking a year in the editing bay, cutting this movie together, because there are millions of cuts, decisions and cuts, and mixing this with that, mixing crazy movements with not crazy, the coloring and again cinematography. Wow, when he's sitting there reading it and the light changes color, whoa, I was like, whoa, wait a second, whoa, that's cool. And how he's lit, and how it's different from when we go into the memory, or we go into what the Warren report is saying, all that. Oh my God, it's brilliant. It's wonderful. I love that piece, that part. It's so great. It feels like, it makes me feel like I'm there. It makes me feel like I'm reading it because of how he figures out how to get you involved and never make you feel bored at all. I never feel bored in this film. I never feel like this film is too long. Never. It's 3 hours and 9 minutes. And I never feel like it's too long. It's just the way it's put together is brilliant. Jack Lemmon. Oh, I love Jack Lemmon. He's really good. Again, not an actor that I would go see his stuff, but of course I know him. I know of him. You know what little roles he's done, what great stuff he's done. I may not have seen a ton of his stuff, but he's wonderful in this. He has and he's not on screen for very long, but he does a very good job and absolutely memorable. Historic parts of the story make it look like old footage. I said that before. I love that. The way these are actors, so we're filming it now, but we're making it look like we got this footage, from, like the Zapruder film. We're making it look like it's like an 8mm film that somebody just... I love that decision to cut those pieces in, but then also make it look like we're there at the time. There's so many brilliant editing choices and filming it over and over to get those different styles of look and then putting them together. Oh, wow. I mean, how many times must he have filmed it and how many different ways to make it look like that? Oh, brilliant. Brilliant. I love that when he's interrogating Jack, Jack Lemmon plays Jack Martin. I love that when they're interrogating Jack, we're finally pulling at the right strings. We're finally getting somewhere. Like, okay, there seems to be a connection here that's a little deeper than what we've already heard. So here's the beginning of all that. And Jack Lemmon's last line, "You're so naive," is brilliantly delivered. You have no idea what you're in store for and what you're getting into and what you're uncovering. Love it. Love it. Oh my God. Okay. John Candy. I have never seen him like this ever. I have always seen him in a comedic role, and I think he's brilliant. Fucking brilliant comedic actor. I own a ton of his movies. Love him to death. Wonderful actor. But this is like a million miles from anything I've ever seen him do. This character is so despicable. No joke. He is not in the film long, but I feel he's despicable. What a disgusting character. What we all think of when we think of lawyers, bad lawyers. This is what we think of. This disgusting, slimy, piece of shit who constantly changes his story, lying about everything, and just like and full of himself. And Candy does such an amazing job. I love, and I think it's gorgeous in the John Candy part. Who thinks this? Who thinks to do this? Oliver Stone thought to do this. That insanely extreme close-up where you're only seeing this part of his face, and literally his lips are touching the edge of the screen, even going out of screen sometimes. So literally all you're seeing is this. That's it. And I was like, what the fuck? Love it. It's gorgeous. I love that part. And when do we do that extreme close-up? When he says, if I answer that question you keep asking, if I give you the name of the big enchilada, it's Bon Voyage Dino. Like pointing it like a bullet in my head, you dig? Oh my God. Like we finally get to, if I tell you the... Not only is he saying, if I tell you the truth, he is basically telling you, I know the truth. Oh, shit. And I love that we have that extreme close-up for that. Because it's between him and Garrison. Even though he's fucking lying. What a piece of shit. Wow. Wow. He is basically telling Garrison, I know the truth, but if I tell you, I'm dead. And so I will continue to lie. Whoa. Whoa. Okay, another brilliant, amazing performance, Kevin Bacon. Whoa! Okay, way out of left field. I've seen a ton of the stuff that he's done. I think he's great. The Woodsman. Whoo! Okay, talk about like taking on a role that could destroy your your career forever. But he takes on the character and plays it as true to the character as possible. The Woodsman. Wow! But this character in JFK. Okay, this is a whole other level to Kevin Bacon I never would have assumed. Brilliant. He does such a great job. And I wrote this note, and I'm going to explain it, because if I say it and don't explain it, people will take it the wrong way. Okay? He puts on a little gay. Okay? He puts on that... Okay, so when straight actors see gay people, especially before 1991, we see all these extreme cases of gay characters, and they think that all gay people are, are Harvey Fierstein or Nathan Lane, and that's not true. Gay is just a sexuality, which means there are every kind of people who could be gay. Every kind of person can be gay. Your sexuality does not determine your mannerism, your expression, your personality. Gay is a sexuality, not a personality. And back then, that's what they thought. Gay was a personality trait, And so, if you were gay, you had to be a certain way. Now, Kevin Bacon, even though in this performance, and I love this performance, he does put on a little gay. You can see it. He does. He's a little more flamboyant, a little more gesturing, a little more soft with his voice. You can tell. Watch other performances that he's done, and you will see the difference. I still think it's brilliant because he's not trying to make fun at all. He's just trying to make it a little more obvious that yes, he is a semi-flamboyant gay man. That's just who he is. In Louisiana, he is. I mean, he is a prostitute. He's in jail for prostitution, so he is slightly flamboyant. He's a prostitute. He's a male prostitute, and I'm perfectly fine. His performance is amazing. I don't care that he is not gay in real life. He does a great job because he's taking it serious, and that's what needs to happen. And he does such a great job. And now we start to see, in his performance, now, here are the pieces of the conspiracy. He's revealing underground stuff that finally are getting us to the point of, David Ferry's involved, and Clay Shaw Bertrand is involved. Lee Harvey Oswald was there too. I love those pieces when he's talking about. Now we start to see the conspiracy unfold. Mostly it's Joe Pesci, in those scenes. It's mostly Joe Pesci putting forward we got to get him, whack out the beard and get JFK. We have to get him. Everybody else is kind of going along with it, but he's the driving force of those scenes. And Tommy Lee Jones, Bertrand is trying to cool him down. Things can be taken so wrong in those scenes. The memories from when what is Kevin Bacon's character name? I have to look it up. Watch. I don't know why I can't remember his character's name. Willie O'Keefe. So Willie O'Keefe and David Ferry, Pesci and Kevin Bacon, they drive these scenes, and they are the amazing parts of these scenes. I love it. The triangulation of Crossfire. That's the key. So now we see the conspiracy start to unfold, and that's where the heart of it is. Oliver Stone has taken the position of Oswald was a government, basically a government spy infiltrating these people. Eventually he gets set up. So this is the position that Oliver Stone has taken, and you can see it as early as this scene. Why? Because as they are talking about the assassination, about how to do it, as David Ferry is explaining how it can work, how do we get it to work, Lee Harvey Oswald is basically just an observer, and you see him paying attention precisely and clearer. He is not, he is not goading Ferry. He is not questioning Ferry. He is not giving any advice. He is simply absorbing all of what they're saying. And it's a great performance. It's a silent performance. He doesn't say anything. It's great. You notice that he disappears when anything gay happens. He disappears because Oswald, there was never any indication or clue that Oswald was gay or bisexual or anything like that. One man has to be sacrificed. They even say it, that one man has to be sacrificed. I wonder if Oswald thinks that it could be him. No, I seriously doubt he even thinks that it could be him at that point. People got to know. People got to know why he was killed. Kevin Bacon has such great lines because he was a communist. His character is has crazy ideas, but he's not crazy. He just has crazy ideas. And Kevin Bacon does such an amazing job as Willie O'Keefe. You're not a bad-looking man, Mr. Garrison. Not bad-looking at all. Such great lines. He's fantastic. Oh, another one of, and I said I was going to say this, another one of my favorite lines from this movie. Garrison says, when they're concerned that I think Broussard is the one that's he's concerned that the only witnesses they have are disreputable people. Willie O'Keefe is a male prostitute, and then they have a drug addict or something like that. I can't remember who else was a possible witness. And Garrison says, and I love this line. This is so wonderful. I always wondered in court why it is because a woman's a prostitute, she has to have bad eyesight. Just because someone is a drug dealer doesn't mean they can't be a witness to a crime, is what he's saying. Why is it that a prostitute can't identify somebody simply because she's a prostitute? Yeah, that's not true. It's because we don't believe in people who are criminals. Well, you know what? Most people have done something criminal in their life. So you could discredit just about anybody you want. That doesn't make it, what does that remind me of? That reminds me of in A Time to Kill, where one of the characters, he's a doctor testifying, and they're they find out that through the course of the investigation or whatever, they find out that he's testifying for the defense. And if they reveal later on that he had been charged with statutory rape when he was younger. And later on, the character, I'm getting this all fucked up, but what I'm basically saying is he had been charged with statutory rape, but the person he had been charged with statutory rape with eventually became his wife, and they are still married to that day. Does that make his testimony any more or less true just because he was charged with statutory rape at some point? His testimony is what's at stake, not his former record. And the same thing here. I love this line. It's because just because somebody is a criminal doesn't mean that they cannot give testimony that is true. I mean, of course, if it's a pathological liar, then we don't believe them. But moving on. Oh, the dinner. I love the dinner scene when they all go to dinner and they're still talking about the case. This is not the family. This is the work group where they all go to that restaurant with the guy with the funny the funny mustache. That waiter D's got. He's awesome. I love that scene because now we're starting to get some real juicy parts. Everybody's come together and is talking about their parts, what they found, how we further things, but we're still keeping this investigation under wraps. We don't want people to know that this is what we're investigating. Oh my God. And I love that through this entire scene, I mean the entire scene at the restaurant, what's happening? What are they cutting in between? Someone is doctoring that photo from Life magazine. And I love that. The steps that it takes to superimpose it and how they superimpose, beautiful, beautifully done. And Laurie Metcalf, she has multiple scenes where she does this. She is the driving force. She is the dialogue for all of this research that she has done, mainly about Oswald and his past, and how this doesn't fit. Like, Oswald defects to Russia and then comes back and no problem at all. Not only does he come back and there's no problem at all, but he brings somebody with him, his girlfriend at the time or wife. Wait a second. If someone did that today, you're not going to be welcomed back to the United States, open arms, no problem. Like, it doesn't make sense that he was a defector. He defected for a reason. Why? And all the information that they uncover. I love that Jim Garrison is throughout this scene. We start seeing that he has no problem taking off his rose-colored glasses. I'm not looking at the government, and he says this later on. We're talking about our government here, Broussard says. And he says, no, we're talking about a crime, Bill, pure and simple. Okay, I love that his character is able to just stop looking at the government as this, people should be afraid of their governments, not governments wait. People should not be afraid of their governments. Governments should be afraid of their people. And that's that's what I love about Garrison, because he's like, you know what? Yes, it's the government. It's the government I'm under, but the government is of the people, for the people, by the people, and I believe in that. And if the government is lying, we need to uncover it. It is not above committing a crime just because it's the government. And I love that Garrison is able to accept that and be open-minded and investigate, well, what are the things that are the most true to the facts? That's what we have to follow. We have to stop looking, what he says, look, we're through the looking glass, people. Black is white and white is black. We can't follow the old. This is not just a normal case. We're talking about the assassination of the President of the United States. So we're not talking about something that's normal. We need to take off what we think we know and follow the facts. Where does it point us? And what does he say? Maybe Oswald didn't even fire the gun. I love that. The nitrate test that he didn't fire it. Follow the facts. You can't just say, oh, he washed his hands and this, blah, blah, blah. They wiped the gun down. Yeah, but the FBI had it first. They couldn't find any prints on it. And then later on, they find a palm print. Wait, what? They could have been taken after his death. When he's dead off of his body. Like, who knows where that print came from if they couldn't find it when they first had the gun. So follow the facts. The facts will lead you to the truth. And that's, Garrison has no problem doing that. Just maybe Oswald was what he said he was, a patsy. I love that they end that line just because that whole dinner scene is great, and it's all about Oswald. There's no way Oswald was who we think he is. There's no way. We're now uncovering the truth of his history, and there's no way that we can swallow what they put in the paper. It's not possible. And when he says just maybe Oswald is what he said he was, a patsy. I love that they end the dinner scene on that line, but not only that, but the finished picture from Life magazine that we were watching being superimposed the entire time. Great piece. I love that piece. Oh, the witnesses. Then we move into he's now investigating the witnesses that day from the Warren Commission. Okay, from the Warren Commission, find the witnesses and actually talk to them and find out what they say. I love that now he's starting to hear the truth. How many witnesses said there was something going on by the grassy knoll, behind that fence? How many witnesses said that? You know, you can't just deny that that's the truth because we're saying, no. Oswald did it alone. It was from the book depository. Well, give me a break. How many people said you can't discredit, dozens and dozens of people who were there that day that said, no. That's not the only place we saw shots from or lights from or something peculiar happening or heard shots from. And then for the people to say that, what is in the Warren Commission is not what I told them. That's not what I told them. I love the girl is like, that's not my signature. There was never a notary present. And he's like, as a former FBI man, I find this difficult to believe. Yeah, but to a degree, he accepts it. Even though he has that line, Garrison has that line, we know to a degree he has to accept it because he's talking to all kinds of witnesses that are saying that what's in the Warren Commission is not true. That's not true. That's not what I said. That's not what I testified to. That's not, Side note, I did not realize this when I was looking up the list of cast. Jim Garrison actually makes an appearance in this film. The actual Jim Garrison. He shows up. He doesn't have any lines. He shows up as Ed Warren, the Warren, who did the Warren. I think that's funny that he shows up as Ed Warren of the Warren Commission. Anyway, I just wanted to throw that in there. Oh. In a movie this long, when you put this much effort and this much information and time and everybody's time into a movie this long, it's hard to know what edits to make, what to leave out, what to include. Do I really want this? Is this important enough? Do I leave this in? Do I cut this out? There is a scene that every time I see it, I have that feeling of, this could have been left out until the end of the scene, and I go, nope. They couldn't leave that out. It's too important. And it's the scene with Beverly, the showgirl, who the funny blonde. She has a very quirky personality. She's a fine actress, and the only thing that she is testifying to is that Jack Ruby knew Lee Harvey Oswald, knew David Ferry, but knew Lee Harvey Oswald before obviously he killed him, like personally knew him. So I'm like, is that really that important? Do we really care that much? It's only one little tiny piece of it. Do we really want all this time spent? Could we shorten the movie by 5 minutes and leave that part out? But at the end of her scene, when she says, if they can kill the president of the United States, do you think they're going to think twice about a 2-bit showgirl like me? And then, Garrison says, don't think for a second. I don't know the pressure you're under, or he says something to that effect. It drives home the severity and the level to what this whole thing is about, that they're investigating and starting to uncover pieces of something, and if these people went to so much lengths to not only assassinate the president but keep it to frame Oswald, do you think that they're just gonna, how many witnesses have they killed already? How many witnesses do we already have proof that they have killed, or have died under suspicious circumstances already? They're not going to care about her, and that's why she's not going to testify. So that is very important because not only is she afraid, but Jim Garrison gets this is serious, and it's life threatening. And then right after that, we go into the biggest hole in the floor. The biggest... the biggest piece of ridiculousness in this entire Warren Commission, this entire... two things. One is the Zapruder film, which establishes the 5.6 seconds of time, and the stupid fucking magic bullet, which we'll get to later. But here is when we're like, this is all about the Zapruder film. There's no way when they go to when they visit the book depository, and he's and J.O. Sanders' character, what's his name? Lou tells Garrison, there's no way. There's no way. They've tested it. Nobody can do it. You're talking about this horrible piece of shit gun. Lee Harvey Oswald, who is a medium shot at best. We're like, he's not a good shot. He isn't. And he gets 3 shots off in 5.6 seconds, and one of them is the ridiculous magic bullet that hits, makes like 7 different wounds. Like, it's so stupid. And there's no way that those shots came from that location and got him. Anyway. Okay, moving on. There's more to say. Changing the parade route. Who could have changed the parade route? Not just anybody. Not just the Dallas police. Somebody significant had to have been able to change the parade route. Because the parade route came nowhere near where the original parade route came nowhere near the book or this area where he gets shot. Nowhere near. It went the other way. There are so many pieces that don't fit that Lee Harvey Oswald was the assassin. And this is one of the key plot points, one of the key pieces of information that's just like, there's no way he did it. There's no way. There's no way. You cannot be naive or gullible and think that he actually assassinated JFK from that location in that way. There's no way. There's no way. They even say, why didn't he shoot him coming up Elm? It would have been a perfect shot. If you miss for the first shot when he first comes, you have plenty of time. Elm is just literally straight towards the book depository. I've driven it. I've been there. Like I said, I was there for the 50th anniversary, so I know the area. And that it literally is a straight shot towards him. You can have multiple shots in time, and all frontal and perfect. No, they wait until later. Why? Because he says the triangulation of crossfire. If you have somebody at the grassy knoll, somebody in this building over here and up here, you can get him. Somebody's going to get him. Somebody. Anyway, moving on. Let's move. The music. Okay, so here's another Laurie Metcalf driven part. I love her. She does a great job. What is her character's name? Sue Cox. Anyway, here's another wonderful driven by Laurie Metcalf part where they're talking about all the sightings of the multiple Lee Harvey Oswalds. Here's also where I hear John Williams' score and go, that's Jurassic Park. Whoa, that sounds almost exactly like Jurassic Park. Listen to it. If you haven't seen the movie, Jurassic Park, I'm not saying he's not brilliant. John Williams is brilliant, but sometimes he does repeat themes. Like I said, when I watch Attack of the Clones, Star Wars Episode 2, Attack of the Clones, the love theme has movements and sounds like a movement in Hook. Absolutely. And this is another one where I'm like, whoa, I can hear Jurassic Park in that really, really well. In this part where we're talking about the multiple Oswalds, that wonderful music. But aside from that, the driving, that movement is really good and creates a lot of tension as we're talking about the multiple Oswalds and the sightings of him coming up. And again, the brilliant how many times did you shoot this and then change the colors, change the grittiness, change the lighting? I mean, it's so great. Like, the cinematography and editing are amazing. How many choices did you have, and how many clips did you have to make? Multiple. I mean, just a million cuts in this movie, I'm sure. Now, here where she talks about the photo, I knew this stuff that she talks about, that photo from Life magazine where Oswald's holding the rifle or whatever in the backyard or something. I knew that they had totally discredited that way before this movie came out. I had heard of that picture being false and fake and being superimposed before this movie came out. So when this part came up, I was like, oh, I know that. So I felt the connection to this movie when I first saw this movie and saw that part. I was like, oh yeah, I know that. I think I was actually watching it with a friend of mine and told him I knew that. That's part of the, I've heard of the magic bullet. I never really knew what it was until they explained it in this film. But I had heard of the magic bullet. Obviously the book depository and things like that. But this photo I knew. I mean, they finally say that the time of day is wrong. In two different places, and you can see the crop marks across his chin. Anyway, when he says they put Oswald together from day one. I mean, if you start looking at the facts and looking at the pieces, you're like, he had to have worked for the government, and the government knew he worked for him. So you just put the pieces where they need to be, and then boom, he's the only one. What did they say in Arlington Road? Because Jeff Bridges' character teaches at like a college, and he teaches a course on terrorism, and he says we feel more secure when we think that it's one person and not a conspiracy. When one person does it, and we know the reasons why, and we feel safer. Why? He says, because we know his name. It's such a simple thing to give us back security, because we think it's one person, we know who he is, and he's dead. And that gives us now we're no longer scared. And they put Oswald together from day one. And then they assassinated him. Why? Because they don't want him telling the truth. It would have, if they hadn't assassinated him, if they hadn't had Ruby assassinate Lee Harvey Oswald, all kinds of shit would have come out about him being in the CIA. I happen to agree with Oliver Stone that he was working for the CIA, and they set him up. They used him. Okay, moving on. Clay Shaw on Easter Sunday. Again, they're showing the family and how this whole thing has affected him and his family. I do appreciate those scenes. I don't think they slow anything down. I think they are important because we need to know how he is neglecting his family for this. And we start to see, Sissy Spacek's character, Liz, like unraveling and not knowing how to support your husband and take care of your kids and get him to understand that he's neglecting his children. I probably have that note later on because there's something else I want to say about that. But let's move on with the notes. Tommy Lee Jones. Again, okay. He also puts on a little bit of flamboyance, puts on a little bit of gay for this character. And that's fine because he's not, again, he is not making fun. He is trying to... But he also has points where he's normalizes the character. The only one of the gay characters in this film that in my opinion stays absolutely normal is Joe Pesci. And I love the fact that we have 3 prominently gay characters in this film, and all 3 of them are different levels of personality and person. There is no way you would ever think, if you didn't have those scenes with Willie O'Keefe, him in those sex scenes or whatever with the other guys, you never would have thought that he was a gay character. He's Joe Pesci, and Joe Pesci does a great job at being David Ferry. And I don't see any, I mean, he's not, Goodfellas, but he's not trying to be something different. And I appreciate that all three of these actors, as far as we know, are not gay and do a great job of representing a spectrum of, just because you're gay doesn't mean your personality is stereotyped. And it's wonderful. It's great. So I love Tommy Lee Jones in this film. He's great. There are multiple parts where he shifts in character a little bit, and that makes me believe that he's not just a normal person. He works for the CIA. Yeah, of course. Let's see here. Oh, I wrote this note, and I'm like, is this a mistake? Or is this not a mistake? When he says he's going to talk to Shaw on Sunday, and then it ends up being Easter Sunday, and she's like, well, we're going to, I forget where we're going to, anyway, like we do every year. Okay, so he's interrogating Shaw in his office, which is, I'm assuming, is Louisiana. He's the district attorney for Louisiana. So he's in Louisiana. He lives in Louisiana. Okay, so he's interrogating Shaw in his office, and it is raining and thundering outside and dark. But then we cut to scenes with her and the kids at the restaurant, and it's bright outside and beautiful and wonderful. And I'm like, did they fuck up? Did they mess that up? There's no way she's in a different state. And if it's that rainy and thundering and storming, I'm sure, is Louisiana big enough to where you can maybe? I don't know. I was like, did they mess that up? Or maybe they're trying to show like the time period, like he spent so long with Shaw and investigating Shaw that at some point there's a storm that came in later in the night and then went away, because when he goes home, it's not storming. It's night, but it's not storming. I don't know. Where did that storm come from? Where did it go? Did they mess that up? Anyway, moving on. Oh, at the end of that interrogation, one may smile and be a villain, from Hamlet. Anything Shakespeare. I've said that before. Anything Shakespeare. And like I said, Garrison is very much like Hamlet. He has 80% of the lines in this fucking movie. Hamlet has like 80% of the lines in Hamlet. I know, I've played him, and he has. He can talk, and as you know from my videos, I can talk. Okay, moving on. I love the tension between them two. You can see throughout the interrogation, and this is a great testament to Kevin Costner's acting. You can see throughout the interrogation, the more he talks to Bertrand or Shaw, the more he talks to Shaw, the more you can see inside of Garrison, inside of the character, that he's getting more upset and more frustrated, and you see that beautiful tension between them that almost comes to a physical altercation at the end when he says, you're the first man that I've heard to claim an act of patriotism to murder his own commander-in-chief. Like, whoa, like it almost comes to blows there, and you see that boiling up through the entire investigation. Kevin Costner does such a great job of, it's internal, but it's still there. Wow. And then the argument right after with his wife when he comes home. It's so hard to know. Do you have to pick a side? Maybe you don't have to pick a side. It's so hard to know. Is she right? Because she is. Is he right? Because he is. Well, which one is more right? I don't know. They both have valid arguments and valid points to... She's absolutely valid to be upset that he's missing all the important parts of his children's lives. And what are you doing? Is this dead person more important to you than your family? And then he's also right that if I don't do this, if we don't do something, then we just close our eyes and go to sleep and let the government take control. And I don't want them to think that justice is not real, that we won't pursue when we see something wrong, we won't pursue it. And so it's really hard to like whose side, who do you agree with? Who do you agree with more? Oh, and then, the cat's totally out of the bag. Everybody knows about the investigation now. I have a funny feeling that it was Bertrand that said, oh my God, I have thousands of notes. That Bertrand is the one that pulled the cat out of the bag, that he's investigating it. The assassination of JFK. And now it's like, okay, now, shit's out the window. We're just going to go with it. Holy shit. The breakdown with David Ferry, again, Joe Pesci is amazing in this film. And that little part where he's just freaking out. And I love the camera work. You notice the camera work, the zooms and the pan, the back and forth, the constant movements when we're looking at Ferry. Not necessarily when we're looking at other people, but definitely when we're looking at Ferry. We're starting to feel tumultuous like he does. And he's like all over the place and insane and hyper. And we get that from the camera. It's beautiful. It's beautiful. Tons of information about the CIA and the mafia. The music is so tense again. It's brilliant. Who killed the president? Fuck, the shooters don't even know. Oh my God. I love that. Who killed the president? The fucking shooters don't even know. It's a mystery wrapped in an enigma, wrapped in a riddle or something like that. I forget his line. But he says the fucking shooters don't even know. Oh my God. Wow. That part is so intense. The office is bugged. So here's the danger level. They find out that the office is bugged, and David Ferry dies. But they're like, "There's no way this is a death." A man's afraid to die, but then he kills himself in a way that leaves no evidence, and then he has 2 unsigned suicide notes. Jim Garrison has his eyes open. He's like, this doesn't make sense. And the guy that says, well, if it's a suicide, I've seen weirder, he has his eyes closed. Two different ends of the spectrum. Well, it's a suicide. Let it go. I'm not looking into this. Whereas Jim Garrison's like, this can't be a suicide. This is ridiculous. So the danger gets bigger there. Oh, and then right outside when they leave there, and Broussard gets... I don't think they ever say who that character is that, like, confronts him and then threatens him, stop investigating. And then he says, we know Oswald didn't pull that trigger, but Castro did. But if that ever came out, that... I don't know who that character is, but that just adds a whole other level to, like who do you believe? Who do you... the danger gets real, and they got a whole Broussard there. Oh, man. Probably my favorite part of the film. My 2 favorite parts are this part and the summation. The summation is brilliant. But this part with Donald Sutherland, again, no small parts. Oh my God. This whole part with Donald Sutherland, I could watch it over and over and over. It's brilliant. Again, the music drives it, and all the beautiful cuts and the types of scenes we use, all the editing and cinematography, the lighting, and when do we use footage that we make look like an old 8mm? When do we use just black and white? When do we high color it? When do we, all these cuts, all these choices, beautiful, and so many amazing lines. I could give you a false name, but I won't. Just call me X. I don't want to. I'm not telling you who I am, but I'm here to tell you situation, not me. Cinematography. I already said that. If you keep an open mind, there are no coincidences. Look at what the facts tell you. And this whole part drives that. How the government had to be involved. There is no way the level to which things had to happen. There's no way it was the mob. There's no way it was Oswald. It had to have been elements in the government. It took them 4 more hours to even charge them with that crime in Dallas. When he's looking at the paper in New Zealand, and he's already got this whole, Lee Oswald did it, he did it alone, all this information about Lee Oswald, but wait, they haven't even charged him yet in Dallas. So this information had already been in the paper, and he says, this is obviously Black Ops. you know? You would have felt an army presence in the street. You know, there is no way if everything went along clockwork, a known hostile state or like Dallas, or known hostile city like Dallas, it is normal for the army to supplement the Secret Service. You would have felt an army presence. There's no way we would have let them change the parade route. There's no way we would have let them slow down to 10 miles an hour. No way. No way. All those open windows. No way. I never realized Kennedy was so dangerous to the establishment. Is that why? Why? Then it comes up. That's the important part. Not all this shit that we're talking about, who did what and when. Why? Who benefited? Why? Yes, absolutely. The organizing principle of any society, Mr. Garrison, is for war. The authority of its state over its people resides in its war powers. And Kennedy wanted to get out of the wars. So many brilliant lines by that character. But war is money. Look at the budget before the military budget before Vietnam. It was like 10 billion. Now it's over 100 billion. Yeah. So war is money. It's profit. And Kennedy wanted to stop it. That's why. And he says the perpetrators must be on the winning side and never subject to prosecution for anything by anyone. That is a coup d'etat. So that no matter what happens, no matter who is sacrificed, no matter how crazy it gets, the perpetrators must be on the winning side. And then nobody's prosecuted. We don't look at it. Fine. Lyndon Johnson's first act is to reverse Kennedy's last act of getting out of the war. Literally. Within hours or within a day. His first act was to go to Vietnam, where Kennedy made a plan to get out. I can't believe they killed him because he wanted to change things in our time, in our country. Politics is power. Kings are killed. Politics is power. It's as old as the crucifixion, he says. Oh my God, yeah. And it still happens today. Why are we constantly in war? What do they say in Gladiator? What did he say? I've known 4 years of peace in 20. Is it 4 years or 2 years? I can't remember. What? How many years since the United States has been a country, how many years have we been without war? Not many. Look up the statistics. I don't remember what it is, but it's not many. And that's sad. That's sad. Wow. Constantly at a state of war, which is money, which is profit. Wow. Here's the turning point. You don't have a choice anymore. Fundamentally, people are suckers for the truth. And the truth is on your side, Bubba. I love that. I mean, I love, beautifully delivered by Donald Sutherland. The truth is on your side, Bubba. You don't have a choice. You've got to do something because they can't touch you. You're too dangerous. You've got to do something. Start the ball rolling. And hopefully your starting the ball rolling brings the truth out. And then after he comes back, after Garrison comes back, I love that line. Love that line. Is the government worth preserving when it lies to its people? How like now? How many lies did they tell us? Now we're finding out that all this non-human terrestrial visitors and technology has been around since the 60s. And they've been lying to us this entire time. You know, if like they say in Contact, in the movie Contact, if we're the only planet that has life with all that space out there, it must be an awful waste of space. No, I absolutely believe there is life in other solar systems and other planets and other places. Absolutely. And do they possibly have the technology to visit us? I don't doubt it. That doesn't doubt. With how much we've progressed in technology and we watch ourselves progress in technology, I feel like our society, our race, our human race will eventually have the technology to visit other planets. Absolutely. I mean, that's what we're trying to do now, and other solar systems and other things. So I may not see it in my lifetime, but I do believe that we eventually, as a human species, will be able to do that. So do I think that other species from other planets also have that technology or already have that technology? Of course they do. And now the truth starts coming out that yes, the government knows about this. They've lied to us for years. So this line, is the government worth preserving if it lies to its people? No, it's not. It's not. And when enough people believe that, we can make a change. We can change it. When enough people believe it. What they say in V for Vendetta, if enough people believe in it, blowing up a building can change the world. An act, a simple act, can change the world. If we all get behind it, we can change the government to be for the people again. I believe that. Oh, and the media. Bob Gunton. I like Bob Gunton. He does a good job. He has a tiny little part. He's the reporter. And do we trust the media? How can we trust the media when it's so skewing what we know, what we think, all the lies they tell about Jim Garrison? And people believe that? Politics is power, yes. It's sad to see the family being torn apart. It really is. At that point, at the boiling point, you know, when the family starts being torn apart, and then not only the family gets torn apart, but now the investigation team gets torn apart because Broussard. Remember, I said Broussard they got to him. They got to his way of thinking, I think they say later on. But they got to him, and in that scene where they're all in the office talking, and the beautiful lighting, that the like dusk lighting, the orange lighting, great. Anyway, that whole part is great. I love Michael Rooker. He does a really, really good job in this film as Broussard. Really good job. It's Louisiana. How do you know who your daddy is? Because your mama told you so. You know, and then he storms out because he doesn't want to go along with them. They got to his way of thinking. They threatened him. It's sad to see. And the boiling point. So the boiling point with the family and the boiling point with the investigative team. J.O. Sanders Lou's character's like, I can't work with him anymore. And he says, "Are you giving me an ultimatum? Well, then I'll accept your resignation." You know, so it's hard to see that we're just getting to that point. We've already arrested. You know, we've arrested Shaw. We're preparing for court. Let's not let it fall apart right now. And the family is also falling apart. And then when Garrison almost gets like busted in the bathroom or whatever, I don't think they were planning on killing him. I think they were trying to have him commit a crime, or the facade of committing a crime, so that they can charge him with something, so they can discredit his character. Not necessarily. I don't think they were threatening his life. I don't think. But then he gets home, and she and his wife Liz seems to be supportive. Until she's like, what if you're wrong? And he says, I never thought for a second I was. And then what happens? He watches the assassination of Robert Kennedy on the TV, and he goes to her and says, they got him. And she's like, both brothers, both. She finally believes. She finally gets that there's something deeper. I don't think she's 100% on his side, but she absolutely finally believes and finally supports him. That's why she shows up in court. So the trial starts at 2 hours and 38 minutes, which means we have about 45-50 minutes left of the movie. The rest of it is the trial and the summation, which is mostly summation, which I have a note for later on. Oh my God. I still don't feel like I've wasted any time. I don't feel like we have almost a whole third of the movie left, and that's the trial and the summation. But the pacing and the editing and the wonderful dialogue, it feels like an action movie. Like we are moving like it could be an action movie, and that's why I don't feel like it's 2 hours and 38 minutes, and we still have 50 minutes to go. But I don't feel it. I don't feel it. In a way, the whole movie to this point is like a trial, and this ending part is the summation of the trial. Because all the pieces that we have put together is like the evidence that the prosecution is putting forth. The entire movie, this 2 hours and 38 minutes, is all the evidence they've uncovered, all the stuff that the prosecution has uncovered, because we never see the defense, and we don't care. And then here's the summation. So now we're summating. I love it. I think it's fantastic. So I literally feel like I have watched a trial instead of just watching a movie, or both. If you watching the Zapruder film, if you watch the Zapruder film, how can you think that fucking Oswald shot him from the book depository? The book depository was behind him. He gets shot. You watch the Zapruder film. He gets shot from the front. You can see how he goes, like the line, back and to the left. You can see the back of his head. I'm trying to be not sensitive about this and just look at it for the facts. That he got shot from the front. There's no way Oswald shot him. No way. How can you be that gullible? Just watch the clips of the Zapruder film. Or you could probably find it online. I don't doubt it. It's in this film. Watch the movie. You can see the Zapruder film and go, there's no way Oswald shot him from the book depository. The fatal shot was from the front. The grassy knoll in front of him. Magic bullet. One of the grossest lies ever forced on the American people, and that line, I believe it. I love it, and I believe it. Because how are you going to say one bullet made all those wounds? That's the dumbest thing in the world. The Zapruder film establishes 5.6 seconds. If we believe that, if we're trying to force the lie on you that Lee Harvey Oswald did it alone, well then the maximum amount of bullets that he could get out of that gun in 5.6 seconds is 3 with 0 accuracy. And we're saying that one of them made 7 wounds because one of them was the ricochet that hit one of the spectators. So that's one. One of them was the fatal wound that killed Kennedy, but that came from the front. But we're saying somehow that went forward and back. Like, that's ridiculous. That's 2. And the third one, which is the only bullet remaining, now has to account, like he says, for the remaining 7 wounds in Kennedy and Connolly. Like, what? The magic bullet? Really? Really? Not possible. I love the beautiful cutscenes when he's doing his summation. I love the beautiful cutscenes from like the model. He's showing all the witnesses and things to the actual like day of and the 8mm fakes that they made. Oh, the editing is just. Thank you for Academy Awards acknowledging the editing for this film and the cinematography, because all the different edits have different like lightings and different coloring saturations and things like that. It's so well done. And what's sped up and what's slowed down, and when do you see it really blurry? When do you see it really close? It's fantastic. Oh, and I love that instead of watching the trial, because this whole movie has been like like I said, like this whole movie has been like the prosecution's side of a trial. So instead of showing the trial, we're cutting the pieces of that trial into the summation. So we are listening to his summation this entire time. We don't actually see the trial, but what we see are clips from the trial as he's summating. You remember what he said, and then we cut that in. You remember what he said, and then we cut that in from the trial. I love that. It was such a brilliant way to not let the pacing up, to keep it moving quick, to keep it going, to not lose momentum. President's brain has disappeared? Like, really? Is that true? Did they really, when Garrison's team wanted to inspect the brain, did they really tell him, well, we don't know where it is? What? Back to that line, is the government worth preserving if it lies to its people? Wow. President's brain has disappeared. What really happened that day? Oh, I love this. When he said, the pacing is so brilliant. What really happened that day? And then he starts going through the facts, and it's so brilliant. All the beautiful edits and cuts, and what we see as compared to what he's talking about, and how we see it. Oh, I love it. It's so intense. It's fantastic. And the colors, oh yeah. The step-by-step Zapruder film, when he gets to that point, when he gets, what happened that day, and he goes through all this stuff, but then he gets to the actual assassination, and the step-by-step, the music is great. It's so intense. It's building you up. Thank you, John Williams. It's so great. And then the step-by-step Zapruder film, as he's showing, we hear the first shot, and then Kennedy reacts. We hear the second, it's fantastic when he goes just piece by piece for the Zapruder film, and just explains the entire. And then, of course, the famous line, back and to the left, back and to the left, back and to the left. Yeah, wow. And then he says, what happens next after the assassination? What happens next? And it doesn't lose momentum. We absolutely slowed the pacing for the Zapruder film on purpose, because this is fucking important. So we slowed the pacing for the Zapruder film, especially the actual assassination, and then we slow to a crawl when he's like, back and to the left, back and to the left. We slowed to a crawl. But now let's get the pacing back up. He says, and he says, what happens next? Boom, pacing right back up. Wonderful, pacing right back up. Don't lose momentum. The camera speeds and the color and all the choice, just brilliant, just brilliant. When Oswald is coming down, when he's talking about Oswald coming down, that this is what they say happened in the Warren report. This guy was eating his chicken dinner, but they see people, the prisoners across the way see people moving into. There's no way he was having his lunch there, or that guy was having his lunch there. There's no way. And Oswald was reported seeing in the cafeteria on the first floor by multiple people. No. But the Warren Commission is saying that he made these shots from the 6th floor and then came down the stairs in seconds past witnesses who were going down those stairs. I love that they show that in the film, the absurdity of it, that he really runs down those stairs past those people who never actually see him, show up in the room for the officer to see him, totally, completely, like, fine, not out of breath, not having run, just perfectly fine. Oh my God, the absurdity. He is pointing out the absurdity and of the Warren report, and Oliver Stone does a great job at that part. Like, this is just no. Oh, I love that point when he gets to, Oswald was arrested, and the absurdity of his arrest, like really? Well, anyway, the absurdity of his arrest, and then he goes to jail. Nobody tells him what the next day he's finally, booked for the president's murder, and then as he's brought out like a sacrificial lamb to the slaughter, I think he says, and then when Ruby shoots him, I love that scene. When Brian Doyle Murray, when Ruby said, Oswald, and shoots him, and everything is still. And we pan through all those old white men smoking. Zero expression on their face. Right in front of the assassination of Oswald. It's such a great scene and speaks volumes. Whoa. Yep. This is what we wanted to have happen. No emotion whatsoever. They're all standing there smoking. Wonderful, wonderful shot. The bigger the lie, the more people will believe it. Hitler said that. It's a bastardization of what he actually said, but that's what they say in the film. The bigger the lie, the more people will believe it. And how like life, how can we not know? How could, at this point in our lives, at this point in history, how many times have we seen that? Yes, of course, the bigger the lie, the more people will believe it. The more fantastic, the more people... Really? But there are still people like Garrison who will keep their mind open and go, wait, the facts don't fit. And that's this whole movie's about. The facts don't fit. You cannot see these documents for another 75 years until September of 2038. So that's 15 years from now. September, 15 years from now, is what he's talking about in the film, that we can finally have access to these documents. But these documents have been gone through and redacted and destroyed, and we'll only see pieces of what they want us to see. I mean, the absurdity of thinking that that in 2038 you'll actually get documents that explain anything. Sorry, Garrison, you are naive. Like Jack Lemmon's character says, you are naive if you think telling your son to stay fit so that he can get these documents in 2038, you think that's going to make any difference? The government is going to destroy and redact and you'll never know anything more than you know now, unfortunately. And he says someday, somewhere, someone may find out the truth. Or the damn truth. They said, someday, somewhere, someone may find out the damn truth. And I don't think that's true. I think this is the closest we will get to the truth. And people who know the truth, people who are involved and know the truth, are no longer with us. I'm sure most, if not all, are no longer with us, which is sad. We'll never actually know the truth, no matter what documents they release, because of the shape of the documents that we will get. The shape that they're in. The truth often poses a threat to those in power. Very true. Very true. And what's sad is the ridiculousness of the legal loopholes and legal apparatus, the legal structure is set up to waste fucking time, obscure the truth, so that we never know the truth. We never know what really happened, what really could have happened. The points of the absurdity of the Twinkie defense. I remember as a kid hearing about that and thinking as a kid, this is fucking stupid. And we made jokes about it. Oh yeah, the Twinkie defense. Oh yeah, the Twinkie defense. Really? Really? The legal system fails innumerably. It's so ridiculous that it failed. That you can claim that you were out of mind because you had Twinkies and soda for lunch and you were high on sugar and that's why you shot fucking Harvey Milk. Bullshit. Bullshit. Holy shit. Hold on. Yeah. It was called the Twinkie defense. Yeah. But I thought it was also like he said, didn't he say Twinkie and like soda and shit? Like it's just Twinkie, the Twinkie defense. Oh my God, what? And you believe this? The American people believe this? The legal profession believe it? Like, what? That's why people don't like lawyers. That's absurd that you would actually say that in court. Whoa. Okay, moving on. The end of the film. Let's get to the end of the film because this is already 2:37. Nothing as long as you live will ever be as important. Wait, nothing as long as you live will ever be, more important. And then Garrison looks straight into the camera. Kevin Costner, straight into the camera, which is a no-no. I mean, he looks straight into the camera at you and says, "It's up to you." And he keeps contact for a couple of seconds and then he breaks. Wow. I love that ending. That ending is wonderful. It's not the ending, but wow. When he looks into the camera, when you realize he breaks the fourth wall in acting, we call that breaking the fourth wall. Not everybody knows that, but I mean, the whole point of Deadpool is he constantly breaks the fourth wall in the comics and in the movies. Okay, yes, absolutely. He's talking to you as the audience. So breaking the illusion of fantasy, of this is just a story. And I love that they did it here, and that not only do they do it here in this last line, but it's so important that he keeps eye contact for multiple beats, even after he says, "It's up to you." And then they break. It's very important. It's wonderful. I love it. Love it. Clay Shaw is found not guilty, but in 1979, Richard Helms, director of covert operations in 1963, admitted under oath that Clay Shaw had worked for the CIA. So I love this ending. The ending where Garrison and his family are walking away. Oh, by the way, that line that Garrison, the final line that he has, that he says, if it takes 30 years, I owe that to Kennedy and his family. That was not said at the trial. That was actually said later on, I think in an interview, but they added it here. And I love that they added it here because it drives home a point that this is important. And I'm going to continue it. Just because the jury finds Clay Shaw not guilty now does not mean that he is not guilty. And case in point, he is the director of covert operations in 1963 actually admits that Clay Shaw was part of the CIA. And the other fact at the end, like I said, the end. I love the end where Garrison is walking away, and it's like twilight. It's like the sun is going down. He's walking away with his family, and then they show these facts. And the other fact that I absolutely have to mention is the congressional investigation from 1976 to 79 found a probable conspiracy in the assassination of John F. Kennedy and recommended that the Justice Department investigate further. As of this film, as of 1991, the Justice Department had done nothing. The files of the House Select Committee on assassinations are locked away until the year 2029, which is only 6 years from now. But like I said, the ridiculousness of thinking that we'll actually uncover anything after they have redacted and removed and destroyed, we're not going to. It's not going to be revealed to us what really happened. This, I believe, is the closest we'll ever get to what really happened, based on Garrison's research. Based on Garrison's book On the Trial of Assassins, and Jim Marr's book Crossfire, The Plot That Killed Kennedy. Okay, so it's based on those two books. And the very last note that I have is what is past is prologue. We're doomed to repeat history. What has already happened is important for the future. What's past is prologue. Love this movie. Love this movie. It is brilliant. And if you haven't seen it, I haven't technically ruined it. Watch it. Brilliant. Brilliant. And I will try to get this movie uploaded, even though it's after 10 o'clock already. I'm going to try to get this movie or this video uploaded today, because today is the 60th anniversary. Okay, next, I don't know what I'm going to get you. I'm not sure what I'm going to go for, but it's not going to be something that's 3 hours long, so don't worry. Okay, thank you for listening this long. I hope you enjoyed this one, because I love this movie. Absolutely love this movie. 10 out of 10. Talk to you next time.